Hello, I am your March competition judge. My name is John Holliday. I have judged for you guys before. Some of you may know me. There's a little information about myself if you want to go look it up. And you probably heard something on competition night. And I'm assuming you've already gotten scores. So this is just a video of the critiques. You'll see the image. You'll hear me talking. And the powers that be at FWCC wanted to give that a try, and I wasn't able to be with you that Thursday actually. So this was kind of my thought, my idea about how to do it. So hopefully you'll enjoy that and that you'll find it helpful. You probably heard something about me already, but I used to run a camera club. I've been around photography forever. I enjoy all kinds. Like most people, I have specialties in certain areas, but not in all areas. But hopefully, I'll be able to provide just some insight as to what I'm seeing, and hopefully it'll help going forward, or at least give you some feedback as to why things turned out like they did. I'm not a very hard judge, I'd like to think. I'm a pretty nice guy for those who know me, but hopefully you will feel that way at the end of this. So let's get started. We're going to do this just like we would if we were doing it in person. They're going to be in no particular order except for the last four, meaning HM, third place, second place, first place. Those will be at the end. So that's what we'll do. All right, let's dive in here. This first picture, this is called Feeding Time. I like this. Everyone loves bird pictures probably. So it's a great subject. The fact the bird has the berry in the mouth is excellent, so it's a great grab shot. By the way, I also like that it's a panoramic crop. I think that's kind of cool, pretty adventurous and kind of cool. Looking closer here, I think the biggest thing for me is this is our focal point right here, the head. To me, though, I'd like to see it. It feels a little bit dark. It's actually darker than parts of the rest of the bird. So if there's and I know there's a way, but in processing, if you could work on that to make this stand out a little bit more on its own. It might mean you also have to do a little something with the background. By default, because the background is light with the snow, then this does sort of stand out. And don't get me wrong, it's really a great grab. But that's the one thing that bothers me a little bit. I just like for that head area to pop out a little bit more on its own. This is a fun action shot, and I actually kind of enjoyed looking at it, and I'll tell you why. To the extent that subjectively it moves me or something, it doesn't particularly. This kind of picture, I think, works well in a competition where there's a theme that this maybe fits well. It probably would do better that way. But it's a good grab. I mean, it's well exposed and it's in focus and so forth. This guy's mouth is wide open, so that's cool. But you know what else I really thought here? This is where my mind went. I thought, is that Ben Affleck? To me, it just kind of looks like Ben Affleck. So I was a bit distracted by that, but it gave me a smile. So thank you for that. This flower, again, is beautiful. I don't mind the center composition, a la Georgia O'Keeffe. It's a very valid thing. It works, so I'm fine with that. This is our focal point, and again, what I personally tend to prefer is that focal point stands out on its own somehow with a little more. It needs to pop. Maybe it's a little lighter. It could be a little playing around with contrast, saturation, anything. Maybe something a little bit different out here. But if that, obviously we don't have any light right in there. It's shaded, and I get that. But there's a way to probably deal with that would make that even better. For these kinds of flowers, I tend to think, or these kinds of pictures, I tend to think, what would I do if I wanted this to be commercial art, hanging on a wall in a high class store or coffee shop or something? What would it look like? What would I want to do to it to make it look like that? Then suddenly your mind gets opened up to other possibilities of what it could have been. and then you just, you seek to kind of make it go look like that. So that might be an idea for this maker as to what to do. And this is cool. I've never done any astrophotography myself, and I would like to someday. I admit I don't know a ton about what goes into it. I can imagine that this took some effort. It's a smaller file. I can guess maybe it was a larger file, and this is just a crop out of that, or maybe not. Again, I don't really know. And yes, there's, it's pretty much in focus for what this would be, and I'm assuming, from what I know, that you probably have to do this on a relatively clear night, or you've got a lot of work to do with any haze. To the extent that it does something for me, it's just subjectively or visually, that's where this thing would fall down a little bit. There's a sense where it is what it is. I appreciate this kind of work, and I really like it. I'm sure there are some other things that can be done that would just be visually, pretty impactful. All right, this is called Framed It. This is my honorable mention in this category. We're nearing the end. And this is a great shot. It's a wonderful view, technically well done. It's well exposed, it's sharp. And I love the idea that the photographer thought of just framing it this way with the tree and putting this monument sort of in that picture. Then you've got these on either side. So all of that works well. My only thing about this is we've got a lot of similar tones going on here. The tree color is very much like all of this background. And I would love to see there's some difference there. It could be lighting, meaning a different time of day, and I know that you can't always do that. That could be one way to do it, or if there's some atmospheric condition that sort of causes that. In post-production, you just have to kind of play with it. But I would love to see that there's not quite so much of the same tone here, in an effort to make the tree stand out more on its own. So that would be my thought there. I love this shot. I love the idea of it. What I don't know if it's real, if that's really a snowstorm. It's called egret fighting the snowstorm. It may be. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me if it is or not. Maybe it's a blend of exposures and filters or something, and that's okay too. The composition of the bird is perfect. That's where it needs to be. It's got a place to fly. It's got room to fly this way. The biggest thing that my issue is here is just we've lost a lot of detail in part of the bird, and I prefer that didn't happen. So even in post, that's something that you might be able to work on and make it better. And but otherwise, that's a good job. I don't know if I said this. This is my third place. So this is third place. This is my second place. I really like this. It's pictures like this, to the average person, would say, that's kind of a simple shot. But a big part of photography is having a visual impact. And so sometimes just finding the right subject is half the battle. This subject's very interesting. There's just tons of detail here. I especially like, choosing to shoot it and crop it this way, with this whole area being one color, sort of sandwiched with these other colors on top and bottom. Top and bottom as we see it here. So, yeah, it's really, and when you zoom in, there's just a lot of interest there. The texture is wonderful. There's probably other things that could be done. You could play around with it. I don't know that that's necessarily better, but turning the camera a little bit so that these were maybe the slight angle might add a little bit of interest, possibly. Maybe you tried that and didn't like it. That's okay. I'm just kind of saying what comes into my mind here. There may have been a little vignetting going on. I can't tell, but a little more of that would not be a bad idea. It might be fun to approximate sort of a point of light in here somewhere. Anyway, that's an idea. But I like that a lot. That was second place. And this is first place. Beautiful scene, and it's very well done. Especially when you talk about dealing with the sun in the exposure there. and it's just, it kind of exudes sereneness. That's not a word, is it? Serenity. I guess that's where I'm going with that. It's really beautiful. It looks like there is a little bit of vignetting here, a little kind of darking around the edge, and that's perfect. That's kind of what we need. Notice that the eye is drawn right here in the middle. And what do we find about the middle? Well, it's a little brighter than the rest. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. When you have a brighter area in there, that is where the eye goes, and that's where the focal point is. As long as it's the intended focal point, that's a good thing. So, good job. First place. All right, so that ends the B class. This is just a quick little ad. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. I'm doing a little thing for you guys next month, April 6th. Just a presentation. This is one of those Tuesday night things that you guys have been doing, so I'll do a little presentation. This is kind of how I make my living. Cityscapes and skylines are my thing. I have most major cities in the U.S., and you'll be seeing a lot of those. This won't be terribly technical, but we will talk some about my process and just some of the things that go into that. But you'll be seeing lots of images from around the nation in terms of cities and skylines, and hopefully you'll find it enjoyable. To the extent that we have time, I'll tell you a few interesting stories as well about getting some of that done. So anyway, hope you can join me. That's April the 6th, and that is all I have, folks, for Class B. Class A and Masters will be on separate videos on this same YouTube channel. Appreciate it. Thanks.